The reality is, Mr. Chairman, George W. Bush used to routinely get 40% or more of the Latino vote when he ran. It is not outside the realm of possibility that a Republican candidate would get a significant share of the Latino vote. The question is whether these Republican candidates can get those votes. Does Greg Abbott have the appeal that George W. Bush had?
That's the problem that they've got right now. I mean, look, on my way over here, I was listening to NPR, and they talked about what Ted Cruz did yesterday. He attached a rider to the budget reauthorization, the temporary reauthorization, that said that that it was contingent upon passing a law that repealed the president's deferred deportation program for the Dreamers, the young immigrants who came into this country through no fault of their own and ended up in this country and have lived here all their lives and speak English sometimes as their main language, and are going to school and are enrolling in college or have gone to the military. This is a law that if you poll most Americans, most Texans in fact, they think that's a good thing. You shouldn't punish these immigrant children as a result of what their children did by bringing them here, their parents did by bringing them here illegally. Yet, the United States Senator is willing, for the state of Texas, Ted Cruz, is willing to shut down the government so that we can take away this administrative regulation by President Obama and deport these children. Now, how do you expect Hispanic families in the state of Texas are going to react to that? Their positions on immigration reform, their refusal to pass immigration reform. Every single United States congressman in the state of Texas that's a Republican, and the two Republican United States senators voted against the DREAM Act when it was proposed by President Barack Obama 2 years ago. If you look at their position recently when they took a stand on the immigrant children the migrant children that were coming into South Texas, who were fleeing from torture, who were refugees, which was a humanitarian crisis, every single one of those individuals signed off on a piece of legislation that was passed in the House of Representatives to force the administration to deport all these children immediately. These are children who were being murdered and whose families brought them over here because other children were being murdered and tortured in Honduras and other Central American countries that the lawlessness has taken over. So if that's what they're doing, and then you add to that, you know, the first year that Hispanic children became the majority of school children in the state of Texas, what do they do? They cut the budget for public education by $5.4 billion, decimating our public education system, increasing student-teacher ratios, making it more difficult for teachers to be able to teach because of these larger sizes, allowing tons of teachers and administrators to be laid off as a result of that. Right. All these anti-Hispanic policies are creating serious problems.
Well, let's give the chairman the opportunity to respond to that. I mean, obviously, you've heard this, that the party on the one hand says it wants outreach, and you have actually, as in your time as chairman, have led an outreach effort, right?
And the chairman made numerous points.
Yeah, so please address those. Yes.
One. First of all, there's no credible poll that shows that the Democrats get 70% of Latino votes, as the chairman suggested. I will cite you two polls. The Univision gave us a briefing, as other political organizations, about 2 months ago. In the Univision poll, Greg Abbott was only 8 points behind Wendy Davis among Hispanics. In the Wilson-Perkins poll last week, Greg Abbott had actually pulled ahead among Hispanics. George Bush, you mentioned, had 40%. That's not correct. CNN exit polls in 2000, 2004, both the gubernatorial and the presidential race in Texas, 49%. And there were times when Kay Bailey Hutchison polled over 50%. Currently, we are doing very well among Hispanics. Ted Cruz, according to the Wilson-Perkins poll, December 2012, had 41% of the Hispanic vote. That's one of the reasons we're winning. I'll also point out that their candidate, Wendy Davis, lost 21% of her primary vote against a no-name, no-funded candidate. Almost all the counties that she lost, and I believe the number was 16 majority Hispanic counties or Hispanic counties, they are losing the Hispanic vote.
Well, in fact, she only got 54% of the vote. I looked up this morning in Chairman Hinojosa's own county, Cameron County.
Why is she doing so poorly? Well, the Wilson-Perkins poll, for example, showed that by about 2 to 1, Hispanic voters in Texas were solidly pro-life, and the Democrats have nominated a candidate whose chief issue is allowing late-term abortions.